Imagine waking up one day and discovering that an entire city vanished. Not a stone left upon another, no map remaining, not even a name you recognize. Just mysterious ruins and artifacts that seem to say, "We were here, and we were far more advanced than you think." Today, we're diving into the world of advanced civilizations that disappeared as if they never existed. Peoples who built monumental works, mastered ingenious techniques, and left clues that still challenge modern science. And the most intriguing part, some of them seem to have technologies so astonishing that it's as if they time-traveled to acquire them. But hold on, I'm not talking about spaceships or interdimensional portals yet. I'm talking about engineering that shouldn't have existed for its time, astronomical knowledge worthy of modern observatories, and social systems that suddenly just vanished from the map. Throughout this video, we'll explore stories that seem straight out of an adventure book. Stone cities lost in the jungle, empires that flourished in the desert and disappeared without direct descendants, and cultures that created artifacts so precise we still don't know how to replicate them. And by the end, you'll realize that our current world isn't so safe from oblivion. After all, who's to say that 1,000 years from now we won't be someone else's lost civilization? Ready to start this journey through time? Then hold on tight, because the first story will give you chills. Imagine walking through the desert and suddenly stumbling upon a city older than Egypt's pyramids. Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what happened when archaeologists discovered Caral in Peru. This city, dated to about 5,000 years ago, is considered the oldest in the Americas. And the most impressive part, it had no walls, nor have any weapons been found so far. This suggests Caral may have been built on trade and culture, not war, a remarkably advanced concept for its time. The structures are massive, stone pyramids, sunken circular plazas, and an urban system so well planned it resembles modern architectural designs. And there's more. The inhabitants mastered irrigation techniques to farm in the desert, used musical instruments made from animal bones, and by all indications, had a complex and organized society. Now, here's the enigma. After centuries of prosperity, Caral was simply abandoned. No one knows exactly why. It was climate change, resource scarcity, or something more mysterious. The fact is, this civilization left almost nothing behind but its ruins and a handful of artifacts, as if it wanted to vanish without a trace. It's as if someone erased its history from the map. And if Caral was forgotten for so long, imagine how many other ancient civilizations are still hidden, waiting to be rediscovered. Now, hold on to this one. A legendary city described in ancient texts, found underwater. Sounds like a myth. Well, off the coast of India, divers and archaeologists discovered what many believe to be the remains of Dwarka, the kingdom of the god Krishna, mentioned in Hindu epics. According to the scriptures, Dwarka was a fabulously wealthy city with bustling ports, golden walls, and wide streets. But one day it was swallowed by the sea. For centuries, everyone thought it was just a legend, until in the early 2000s, underwater expeditions found stone structures, columns, and perfectly aligned streets more than 30 meters deep. The most intriguing part is that analyses suggest these structures could be over 9,000 years old, which, if confirmed, completely disrupts the timeline of human history we learned in school. Among the findings are stone tools, pottery fragments, and even evidence of elaborate ports, all pointing to an impressive level of urban planning for such a distant era. But why did the city sink? Was it an earthquake followed by a tsunami? Or did sea levels rise after the end of the last ice age? Whatever the explanation, it feels like this entire civilization was swallowed and forgotten, surviving only in stories. And if there's a lost city at the bottom of the sea in India, could others be hidden beneath the waves waiting to be discovered? Imagine arriving at a tiny island in the middle of nowhere and coming face to face with hundreds of giant statues, some over 10 meters tall, staring fixedly at the horizon. That's how the mystery of Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, in the middle of the Pacific begins. These stone colossi, called moai, were carved by a people who lived isolated from the rest of the world for centuries. And here's the enigma. How did they move stone blocks weighing tens of tons over kilometers without wheels, draft animals, or advanced technology. Some researchers say they walked them by rocking them side to side like stone penguins. Sounds like a joke, but experiments show it might have been possible. The Rapa Nui civilization didn't just build statues. They had a complex social system, their own language, and even a form of writing, rongo-rongo, which no one has fully deciphered to this day. But suddenly, this society collapsed. Theories point to internal wars, environmental destruction, or even diseases brought by European explorers. The most striking thing is that even after the collapse, the Moai remained standing, like silent guardians of a story that was never fully told. Now, if these statues could speak, would they reveal a secret that would change everything we know about the past? In the heart of modern-day Zimbabwe, in southern Africa, there are ruins so impressive that when the first European explorers saw them, they simply refused to believe they were built by Africans. But the truth is they were, and by a civilization that mastered architecture and trade like few others in the Middle Ages. We're talking about Great Zimbabwe, a city that flourished between the 11th and 15th centuries and controlled incredibly lucrative trade routes, selling gold, ivory, and other goods to Arab, Indian, and even Chinese merchants. At its peak, it was home to thousands of people and a powerful political and economic center. What stands out most are its cyclopean walls, some over 11 meters tall, built with perfectly fitted stones, without mortar. It's like someone played Tetris with multi-ton granite blocks. Even today, engineers wonder how they did it, with just simple tools. And then, the mystery. Around the 15th century, the city was abandoned. It's unclear whether it was due to resource depletion, political crises, or climate change. What we do know is that when Europeans arrived, they found only silent ruins surrounded by stories of a lost kingdom of gold. Great Zimbabwe proves that the African continent was home to sophisticated and wealthy civilizations long before colonization, something many still underestimate. And if this monumental city could vanish from history, what else might time have erased? In the heart of Cambodia, the jungle hides a monumental secret: Angkor, the capital of the ancient Khmer Empire. Today, the Temple of Angkor Wat is world famous, but the true city, once the center of one of Asia's greatest empires, lay lost under vegetation for centuries. Between the 9th and 15th centuries, the Khmer Empire built an urban and hydraulic system, so advanced it impresses even modern engineers. Picture a network of canals, reservoirs, and massive dikes designed to irrigate crops and sustain a population of hundreds of thousands, all in the middle of a tropical jungle. And they weren't just practical works, they were artistic too. The temples were richly decorated with sculptures narrating myths, battles, and scenes of daily life. A true stone book open to those who could read it. But at the height of its power, something happened. Wars, climate change, economic crises, the theories are many. The fact is, Angkor was abandoned, and the jungle swallowed nearly everything. When European explorers arrived in the 19th century, they were stunned to see those structures emerging from the trees, as if time had stopped. Today, satellite images reveal that the city was even larger than imagined, with entire streets and neighborhoods still buried. Now think about this. If a metropolis of that size could vanish beneath the jungle without leaving clear traces, how many other massive cities has the world yet to discover? Imagine having breakfast, hearing the bustle of the streets, and suddenly the sky darkens, and a deafening roar overtakes everything. In a few hours, an entire city is buried, not by earth, not by stone, but by a blazing rain of ash and rock. That's what happened to Pompeii in 79 AD when Mount Vesuvius erupted. The vibrant, wealthy Roman city disappeared under a layer of up to 6 meters of volcanic ash. And ironically, it was this tragedy that preserved it so well. When excavated centuries later, Pompeii's streets revealed a perfect snapshot of life in the Roman Empire. Luxurious homes with colorful frescoes, bakeries with bread still in the ovens, graffiti on the walls with jokes and declarations of love, and even plaster casts of the victims' bodies, preserving their expressions in their final moments. It's as if someone hit pause on history. The most curious thing is that, despite the destruction, Pompeii shows that the Romans were already living in an incredibly advanced way. They had aqueducts, sidewalks, taverns, public baths, and even street signs. It was practically a modern city, 2,000 years ago. But this perfect preservation is also a cruel reminder. No greatness is eternal. In a single day, a thriving urban center became a silent tomb. Now let's travel so far back in time that Egypt's pyramids were still a distant dream. In southern modern-day Turkey, archaeologists discovered Catal Hoyuk, one of the oldest cities in the world, dated to around 7,000 BC. And let me warn you, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. Catal Hoyuk had no streets. The houses were built right next to each other, forming a massive urban block. People moved across the rooftops and entered their homes through holes in the ceilings using internal ladders. It's as if everyone lived in a giant beehive condo made of mud. Despite being so ancient, this city already showed signs of complex organization. There were areas for food storage, communal spaces, and even art on the walls, paintings depicting hunting scenes, human figures, and mysterious symbols. And more, evidence suggests its inhabitants had some form of egalitarian system, with no palaces or grand temples indicating absolute rulers. But here's the mystery. After over 1,000 years of occupation, Catal Hoyuk was abandoned. The reasons are still debated. Climate change? Disease? Internal conflicts? What we know is that, after its disappearance, almost nothing of its direct culture remained. It's as if this first experiment in urban life emerged from nothing and returned to nothing. Imagine climbing steep mountains, crossing deep valleys, and suddenly coming face to face with an entire city suspended among the clouds. That's how many describe their first glimpse of Machu Picchu, the most mysterious jewel of the Inca Empire. Built in the 15th century at over 2,400 meters above sea level, Machu Picchu seemed invisible to the outside world, and perhaps that was the intention. Its stone structures, fitted together without mortar, have withstood centuries of rain, earthquakes, and winds. The stonework is so precise that some engineers say not even a knife blade could fit between the blocks. The most impressive thing is the city's integration with its environment. Agricultural terraces carved into the mountainside, water channels sourced from natural springs, and architecture aligned with astronomical events, like the winter solstice. It's as if science, religion, and nature converged there, but why was it built? And more importantly, why was it abandoned? There's still no consensus. Some believe it was a royal retreat for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti, others that it was a spiritual center. What's certain is that after the arrival of the Spanish in Peru, the city was left behind and nearly forgotten until it was rediscovered in 1911 by explorer Hiram Bingham. Machu Picchu is living proof that some of humanity's masterpieces can remain hidden for centuries until someone stumbles upon them. To wrap up our journey, let's talk about the most famous of all lost civilizations. One that, even after more than 2,000 years, still sparks debates, books, movies, and expeditions. Atlantis. The story originated with the Greek philosopher Plato in the 4th century BC. He described a massive island inhabited by an advanced people with knowledge of engineering, architecture, and navigation far beyond what existed at the time. According to Plato, Atlantis was rich, powerful, and arrogant. And as divine punishment, it sank into the sea in a single day and night of misfortune. To this day, no one knows if Plato was recounting a historical fact or creating a political allegory, but that hasn't stopped generations of explorers from trying to find it. Possible locations have been suggested in the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, Antarctica, and even the middle of the Atlantic. What keeps the myth alive is the detail. The description of canals, temples, and walls sounds so specific that it's hard to believe he made it all up. And of course, the idea of a civilization so advanced being swallowed by the ocean raises an unsettling question. Could something like that happen to us? The fact is, whether real or not, Atlantis has become the ultimate symbol of everything time can erase. A reminder that no greatness is eternal, and that the next great lost city could be right beneath our feet, or under the waves. If you enjoyed this journey through vanished civilizations, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, which of these stories left you most stunned? Who knows, maybe we'll dive deeper into one of them in a future video.